Hello, me lovelies. Well, just want to talk about Jon Wedger and his upcoming interview with Shaun Attwood. Now, people who don't know, I'll quickly go over it because I've mentioned Jon Wedger in the past and I don't really want to make him the subject of my channel anymore. He used to be heavily part of my channel when he was being very active in his nonsense and trying to get money out of people and all this. Anyway, Jon Wedger, ex-CID officer, claimed he was the first person to expose cover-ups of nasty things happened to children by adults. No, he wasn't. I'll just leave it at that. No, he wasn't. Look, I haven't been in Merseyside Police since 2011. I was talking inside the police about cover-ups of that nature going on. But where we differ, I never heard anything about satanic ritual abuse. I just heard about people with influence over the chiefs of the force. If they committed a crime, the force would stop it going to investigation, and some of those crimes involved against youths, vulnerable youths, children they had no families they could rely on, usually boys, young boys who were hooked onto drugs, used for these people's pleasures, then dumped, and they had no chance of justice because if they went to the police it'd be covered up. It's still going on today as far as I know. And when Shaun Attwood is interviewing Jon Wedger about his stuff, Shaun Attwood, who was actually from the surrounding Merseyside area, has never shown any interest in what actually goes on in Merseyside. That's up to him. Anyway, lots of controversy surrounds Jon Wedger and money. And I don't want to labour the fact because I've gone into it in the past, but when he really came to my attention was when he did two charity events, or he did a charity event for two organisations, and they both got 2k each, 4k. But suddenly there was this explosion. Where's the other 11k gone, John? Where's the 11k gone? There was the allegation that 15k had been raised and 11,000 went missing. I asked Jon Wedger about that. That's the first time I contacted him, and I got the most snotty, arrogant response. Why should I explain myself? He doesn't have to explain himself. And that's Jon Wedger and the way he carries on. He would refuse to explain himself. If people have concerns about where money's going, if people have concerns about things he's saying, he is not going to explain himself. Very, very arrogant. And of course there's this, he's a man of God. God has put him here and he's going to do this. He's also marred by his relationship, very close relationship with Wilfred Wong, another person who was on the let's create a satanic panic bandwagon, who was going around for about 30 years. And I've always said about Wilfred Wong, I kept on saying this, you see, I was proven right in the end. He was a dangerous man, and sooner or later they were going to get pulled over this. You know, he'd been doing the rounds for about 30 years or so, and coming out with all this, and as I said, was going to say, I'll say it now. Wilfred Wong, when you hear him talking, he was never stuck for an answer. Never ever stuck for an answer. And I've said before, you ask him, if you out of your head said, well, what about space hoppers? Well, those things the 70s used to bounce around on. What does Satanists think of space hoppers? He would have turned around and said, oh yes, well, I know, I have heard from Satanists that they use the space hoppers to hop around the altars before they sacrifice the people. He always had an answer. Look, people, if someone always has an answer, no matter what you put to them, they're lying. They're lying. He was never stuck for an answer, because you can tell they're making it up, and you'd see him, the cogs in his ears, brain would be going off trying to come up with an answer. It was really ridiculous. You could ask him anything. So anyway, what happened to Wilfred Wong, for those that don't know, he, of course, was getting a platform from people like Shaun Attwood. Now, don't forget, he'd been doing the rounds for 30 years. People have been ignoring him. Suddenly he's on Shaun Attwood's show. Suddenly he's getting all attention, as is Jon Wedger. Suddenly people are listening to him, throwing money at him, whatever. And what does he do? gets involved in the kidnapping of an 8-year-old boy in Wales. Now he's serving 15, 17 years in prison, something like that. So I was right, even though Shaun wouldn't listen to me, and that's why I don't bother warning Shaun now about anything, because I can see it's going to go to disaster eventually with him. That's his choice, it's his life, he's an adult. Now, what Jon Wedger knew about what Wilfred Wong was getting up to is anyone's guess, but let's put it this way, Jon Wedger was very, very close and promoting Wong all the time. And from what we know, Wong was running around telling everyone what he was planning to do and trying to get them involved. You work out whether Jon knew, but all that we do know is Jon Wedger went to ground and kept his head down. But what hasn't been advertised, and this would be interesting if Shaun would ask this, though I doubt he will ask it. Jon Wedger has come to a deal with the Met Police. He was going to take the Met Police to a tribunal. They came to an out-of-court settlement. That means money under the table, right? And there'll be a silence clause. There's bound to be a silence clause. He can't talk about this, he can't talk about that if he agrees to the terms. Now, that also isn't the heroic whistleblower that he claims to be, is it, if he's going to strike a deal like that for money. And like a lot of these people, you know, Jeanette Archers, Jon Wedgers, Wongs and all that, they miss the part in the Bible where it says the love of money is the root of all evil. Because they seem to love money. The more they get, the more they love, the more they love. But I won't go on about it because I don't want to make it my main topic on my channel. I think Jon Wedger's finished himself off a while ago because he's just, you know, he talks nonsense. And if Shaun has him on again, ask him one thing, Shaun, right? Try to ask him to clarify about these funds going missing. These allegations, these funds. And also ask him why. If he knows, like he has said, and Jeanette Archer knows, where loads of bodies are buried, children's bodies who are victims of these Satanists, and the police won't look into it even though he reports them, why didn't he use Jon Wedger use the two night fishing goggles which cost £500 each that was donated to him when he said he was going to go out and find evidence of these satanic temples and satanic rings at night? Why doesn't he use them? Go out with Jeanette or whoever, Alan Merritt, big bad Alan Merritt, go out there, right? Sorry, I couldn't help doing that. And dig a couple of these bodies up, film it, send it to Met and say either an open investigation into this or we're going to send it to the Daily Mail. This video to show that there are children here. He won't do that. Why? Maybe because they know there's no children's bodies there. Maybe I could go on about Jeanette Archer and the nonsense she's coming out with lately, but that's for another video. But I just wish Shaun for once would ask, or maybe Jen will, if you hear this, Jen, you come up to the, here we are, Jen, here we are. If you want to show your integrity and show that you're the, which you are a good interview actually, Jen. I think you're very, very, very professional. You could make it as an interviewer. You just have to be careful who you're associating yourself with. You know, you don't want to get marred by any kind of scandals. But maybe, Jen, you could turn around and say, look, Jon, why don't you come on and answer these questions? Go on your channel. You've got Boomer and Jen, isn't it? Go on your channel. Ask them. Here we are, Jen. You asked me, you want to interview me. I'd be willing to do an interview with you if it involves a live with, well, it doesn't have to be live, it could be recorded with Jon Wedger. Or Jeanette Archer, but hopefully Jon Wedger, where I can ask him all those questions that he's always refused to answer. But I'll leave it there. Anyway, be interesting to see what he says. So, 10 minutes, so I'll leave it there for now, my lovelies. Bye-bye for now.